you've got a signal. It's like a that's what we that's the Norwegian word for it.
Is that the sig? You've got a signal. You're showing a sign. Okay, Jack. I'm gonna do. I don't know how much planning elements, but we'll try and go through like at least a run through of like setting up your film on Film Freeway, things that I would advise that are useful, and then like general experiences I've had so far. And I guess the other thing is that you can share screens as well if you want, so we can walk through some stuff. I should probably share it with audio as well, actually. Cool stuff. Wait a second. Share. Cool. So obviously, Film Freeway general website. You have to sign in. You create an account for yourself. I've got very basic stuff on here because I haven't really uploaded too much stuff. You can add a biography about yourself because I guess they look into you as a filmmaker as well.
Yeah.
And then there's these 2 films here. You add credits on there as well, so you then start getting a personal identity there. You get, people can probably come on here and look for your website or Instagram and that kind of stuff as well. News articles, resumes, links. Don't imagine people will use this in that way completely. Random photo I took behind. I don't know. But that's the general setup, is that you set up yourself as a person on there as a user, and then you set up the individual films on here. I've never run a film, like I've been part of film festival films, and so I've got some experiences with a film called Transmission that we shot, like the one that was on 35mm in Bristol. That did a whole tour of a load of film festivals as well. That was so this is their kind of website. They've got festivals and awards, and then they've got loads of different festivals that they screened at.
Oh my gosh, fantastic.
And then they've got the awards of it. So they set up everything really correctly, whereas I haven't so much done a website for the films that I've done. I've just kind of linked it into my personal website, because it takes a lot to maintain this kind of website as well. They've got behind the scenes photos, I guess, in here. Oh, that's the behind the scenes video. Actually, Andrea cut that. Yeah, they've got a sample of the score. I remember this, and that's on like SoundCloud, and that's the composer there, Nick. And then there's like a director's statement, which will be like, about the directors. Although I think part of the website's broken. Oh no, looks like it's broken. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, keep it. If you are going to do something, keep it so it's done. There we go. That's quite good. It's got links to people's different websites. So if I click on my name, then it will go into my website, which is quite cool. So they've done it quite well, to be fair, my website is broken as well, slightly. So the film specifically, The Offering of Hector. So that's the link here to the film, and then I've got a couple of still images down here as well. So you kind of you start making a whole package around the film as well. We'll just go back to that. So which one would you like to start with first, Jack? Do you want to go with Rose Pandemic or The Offering of Hector?
Let's go with The Offering of Hector, because that's kind of already it's been around for a bit longer.
Okay. I mean, in terms of finding its identity, I think that's one thing that you'll find as well. Is the longer that you're with a project, the more that you'll like start working out, like, you know, different bits, like what types of people would watch this film as well. So I'm not going to play it. I think you've seen it, or even if you haven't seen it, you get the idea from this first image. It's like witches in the woods. It's 3 and a bit minutes long. You know, the credits there. Specifications of what the film was. It's made for $3,000. It was all shot on a 5K Red Dragon with Cooke S4s. So pretty much you go onto here. We'll go to edit project. It will force you to try and fill out as much information. This is what you kind of get originally. So you're like, what type of project is it? You know, what the name is, a brief synopsis. I try and keep it to as short and punchy as possible. That also has a hook in it as well. So, you know, it leads on to the viewer actually wanting to watch it. This may not be the best hook for the film, but because we didn't really know quite what the film was eventually. A Nordic mythology fantasy short film following 3 witches who are responsible for your fate. It's a bit of a hook. It's not the perfect hook, probably. The website works to the IMDb. So this then brings you onto the IMDb page. And then again, like, you can kind of fill out this as much detail as possible with a couple of images.
You think an IMDb page is like necessary for this kind of project?
It's useful because it starts becoming a bit more professional than like a, oh goodness, what is going on here? I've got a little, what do you call it, Jack? A signal. You know, an Instagram is useful as well. I did create one for Rebecca. Becky, hey.
Hi, Becky.
Hey there. So, I've just been running Jack through briefly. Let me do a quick recap. So, basically, I've been part of like 2 or 3 film festival runs of projects. And then this is my first proper go at running like my own versions, basically.
Okay.
So I'm just going to sort out my hair. Oh goodness. Here we go. It's less crazy now. Okay. So Jack wanted to go through the Offering Hexa because his short film is a bit more is in that vein. So I was just going through this is kind of what you get eventually in terms of like what festival goers will look at as a page. So that's pretty much their kind of, you know, layout of what you give to them as an offering, basically, of like, here's my film, take a look at my film. I was just talking about the brief synopsis is trying to give you a bit of a hook with what the film is. So it's not fully explaining it, but, you know, it might say genre, or, you know, what type of film is it, and a little bit more about it. I was just saying that the brief synopsis is not perfect on this one, but it's what we had to go with currently. You can always change and update all this information. Obviously, a lot of credits need to be added in as well. So keep a good credit list as you go on Excel spreadsheet. And then specifications, so experimental, short, student, because the director is a student. Genre, for some reason, doesn't work for me. I don't know why. But I've tried to add it a million times. Running time is important because certain festivals, you will, if it's over like, you know, 2 minutes, then you're not getting to them, or you'll instantly like get not a fail, but you know what I mean, like you'll waste your money basically. The budget, all the production details, aspect ratio, color. Not too much of this matters too much, but student projects and first-time filmmakers, obviously, there are like ticks to set up film festivals as well. Screening, distribution, screening and awards.
Let's put the other awards in. I found personally.
On this page, is it good to upload it then?
Yeah, I update mine as soon as I've won something else. I'll just re-update every time. So it's like a little list.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So attachments, sorry, but in files and attachments, it's always really good to have like your press release kit in there. I found, because a lot of the time they'll then email you asking for your press release, which at least if it's uploaded on Film Freeway, they've already got access to it straight away.
I mean, for example, I haven't, like, this is like maybe 4 or 5 weeks in, so I haven't been asked too many things yet. That sounds like you've got more experience than me, Rebecca, to be fair. So then obviously, like a nice photo of the director with a little write-up of where they're from or where they're based. So she's Cardiff based and she was a student at the time, and like what she wanted to experiment with, and then a director's statement as well. And Jack, I know you know your Nordic mythology, don't you? I don't know.
A little bit.
I have no clue what this is, but you've got some very long names. But it was an interesting project. It was a bit more of a originally it started off as a costume makeup test. Here are some stills, and I kind of mixed up some stills with some on-set photography that I did. So these are 120mm stills, and then there's some behind the scenes. As you can see, Andrea's there, and plus the ladies under the under some cloak.
And an old double-decker bus.
Yeah, it was an old paintball place.
Okay.
I think it's still going, although it was locked down. Oh no, was it locked? No, I think it was. Anyway, and then I have a link to the IMDb there, Rebecca as well. So obviously there's like, I'm trying to keep everything as low cost as possible, but there's like in brackets like marketing options that they try and do, which I don't think this really benefits.
No,
I don't know. I would stay away from that, Jack, personally, in terms of like, if you're kind of going to push out your film that way. And then I'll just keep on that line of the offering of Hexa, really. And so I've currently submitted to, hang on, I'll just go back to my projects. So it gets a little bit confusing because it doesn't actually give you a subtotal of, unless you're on this page. So I've submitted to, I think, 21 in total. No, maybe 22. And the same on this, like 23 on Rose Pandemic. Although when you go to this page, it says 45, which is combined. But even if you do offering of Hexa, you still only see 45, which is, and there's only like 23 there. Anyway, so let's go notification date. Okay, so we didn't get in Southampton Film Week, unfortunately, but we might be screened in like a non-competition category. But we did get into this Barcelona Film Festival, Barcelona Independent Film Festival. So the screening of it will be on the 13th of November, so tomorrow, hopefully. So that's exciting.
That's a really quick turnaround. Is this? Oh, this is for Hexter. So maybe it was. When did you enter these?
Well, some of them are like, I don't know whether it is one of these ones, but some of them are. Let's go on to this one anyway. They have like ongoing. Oh, classic. Everybody's getting their 2 o'clock like boop. So some of them will have like monthly kind of reoccurring things. So for example, this one here, I think they do have a rolling deadline. but they have like a final deadline. I'm not quite sure, but some are like every month or so. Whereas,
because if you do early bird or the first or early submission, it's always cheaper.
yeah, definitely. I have been quite stringent in the ones I've been choosing. So like best horror short film festival, what is this, like no money, like basically where's a good no, oh, this one here, that was because it was a student short film, and so it was no money as well, so it's great. Like you just kind of hit up what categories you actually fulfill. There is some money that I spent on though, like Film Oslo, like £4.21. So
always worth, if there's like a big film festival that you really want to get into, maybe following it on social media, because sometimes they'll post discount codes. So like the BFI Future Film Festival this year, I got it for like $3.82, and
that's great.
Yeah, and it should have been like I think £25 for the submission. But yeah, it's always just worth having an nosy. Look for them discount codes.
I think what I found is that if I can get a load of ones which are like let's say LSF, like Micro Short Film Festival, I put this into the music video category because it is kind of different. And Swindon International Film Festival, again, like getting as many discount codes as possible. Short films between 3 and 20 minutes. I'm pretty gutted that we can get down below the 3-minute mark, but we couldn't get it cut any further really. And then Cardiff Mini Film Festival, that's quite nice as well. I've kind of gone quite random on some of these, but look, even ones that I've entered like recently, or not even that recently, but like let's say this one here, submission date was October 14th, and I'm not going to find out until next October, which is pretty crazy. Like, yeah. So
I submitted it on the 9th of May, and I won't find out until the 18th of December, and I'm like, hurry up.
So it's a long game, basically. Like, I'm looking forward to if this one could be quite good, Fisheye Film Festival, because we did quite well the last time we were there with transmission. So we'll see how we do. But I'd say like no film is the same. Like definitely. Just going to this one. So obviously we got selected to Southampton Film Week for Rose Pandemic. I showed you earlier, I think, Jack, I'll see if I can quickly find it. So with Southampton Film Week, they sent me like an access code. What's now? So then, and so you can see all their films that they've got. They've got like an on-demand service currently this year. So so it's basically like you're buying essentially a screening for 19 short films. I think it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. So most of them will send you like an access code, and I guess this is how film festivals will currently run during like lockdown and all that stuff.
With DOF film festivals, I've been doing that too, but they've also tried to integrate it because they always have like a public Choice Award.
Mm.
So they tried to integrate it where the filmmakers get access to all the films for free via Vimeo like that, but the public pay £12, and I think they get access to like every film that's up for an award in all of the categories, and then you can vote. And yeah, they made it quite fun and interactive, which is cool.
That's really cool. So I think they're charging, I think it's like £5 for access for all of it, but basically you buy it and I think you can have access forever, I think. So a little bit of different process with Rose Pandemic, and I've gone to this, like, so it's quite strategic, but basically in this one, the Rose Pandemic list, there's only a very few amount of film festivals selected, because I cut down from like 108 that I thought were like reasonable. So my pathways were film festivals that I knew and film festivals that I've been to before and heard about. If they were under between £5 and £10, it was going to be like actual suitable for our budget. If they'd been going for a couple of years, it's useful because then they've got some reputation and it's kind of like, you know, I mean, even starting off with like small film festival, really small ones, like 2 or 3 years, could be good to try out for your film and stuff to see how it is if it's you know, gets selected and stuff. The reason why I went to like Southampton Film Week is because obviously I'm an original filmmaker within Southampton. I've known them for many years, and so I really wanted to approach them to see if they liked the film or not. But yeah, it kind of worked out quite well. I should have entered the Offering of Hexa probably the year before, I feel, because I've kind of progressed a little bit since then as well, as like storytelling and that kind of stuff. I've kind of, but what else? Within Rose Pandemic, there's also there was like a queer element to the film as well. We had a female director, so and no, she was a second-time director, so it didn't quite class for that. And also, we kept it under 10 minutes as well, the actual film, so that's quite useful. What else from here? Oh, there is a couple of bigger ones that I would recommend in terms of Jack, once you start to get to the point where you're like, I can start competing in this kind of area, or if your film starts doing well, I would suggest starting off on the smaller end of things, of like, you know, maybe try out like 10 festivals and just see how your film gets taken, and if it gets selected or not. I would never worry about winning. Like, winning film festivals is a different game. But being selected and the quality of our work is a good thing to be recognized for. The other thing is that I then started to look for film festivals which weren't crazy money, but were BAFTA qualifying. So I've only entered like, I think actually that's the only BAFTA qualifying one that I've tried to enter. I thought, you know what, let's give it a go, see where it goes. You know, I think, yeah, I would love to enter Encounters one day, and maybe like Aesthetica as well. But I didn't feel the films that Rose Pandemic were going to fit into that market. So each one of these film festivals I did, I don't know, probably about 4 minutes of research on at least. Well, actually, no. Each one of these, like, where has it gone?
I think that's a really good point to always like read the small print with them sometimes, because sometimes they'll want something that maybe hasn't been shown somewhere before, or something where it's where it has to have subtitles in another language, and then obviously if they come to then select it, you then got to figure out trying to get the subtitles for that, which can be a bit of a pain last minute.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of why we got disqualified as well to this French film festival here, because we didn't have subtitles.
yeah, and there was another point I was going to bring up, but I've completely forgot it. Oh yeah, sometimes they have like timelines on like how old your film can be when you submit it. Like I think most festivals are really sort of happy if it's within 2 years, but just always read that small print because it can come back and bite when the bum sometimes.
I think you're when you originally said what you've been browsing, Jack, in terms of your film and stuff. So obviously like open and closed, open only, like these are all like, you know, what direction, how long in advance do you kind of preparing? I don't know whether it's true or not, but like some people said to me that around about like the beginning of August is kind of a good time to start looking, or at least starting your journey of like entering film festivals. But I might be completely wrong. I think it's like any year is, or any time of year now is probably actually fine. I would say some film festivals, maybe the bigger ones, you still have to apply to them directly, or some unique ones will not be on here.
Yeah.
So, you know, bear in mind that you might have to go to their original websites and that kind of stuff.
Personally, I'd start looking around February and March because most of the deadlines are around August time and onwards. Like the deadlines are usually over winter. But if you start looking February, March time, you'll then get them early bird tickets. You'll get bigger festivals, cheaper pricing, and more bang for your buck, really.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting because obviously I'm doing for this film. Like, if I start now, then hopefully get a few selections, and then by like February, March, then maybe got some things under my belt, and then can go. So like do like a couple of waves.
Yeah,
I think I don't know, that also comes to the management though, right? I need to like put it in my calendar, like do more film festivals because it can be so easily like
get yourself a little Excel doc. I always have an Excel doc which I just call my film festival tracker, and I just put every single film festival that I've put in, how much it costs, when I need to submit it, and then my notification date, just so that I'll get like little reminders and stuff. But yeah, it's well worth having something like that set up, even if it's just notification in your calendar. It helps.
Exactly.
And the waves is good, and the film usually has like a 2-year lifespan on film festival, like on the film festival circuit. So if you do a first wave, don't just go, all right, it's over with now. Like you've got like 2 years at least to run that.
Exactly.
And for the long haul, I think. So one of the things I did was exactly that in terms of I created like to-do lists, but then also created a festival list as well. You know, like it's literally just copying all the data down. There's a good director called Keith who like showed me how to do all this kind of stuff, and pretty much the guy that I'm going to speak to and try and make this like, you know, flesh out this kind of how to of festivals and that stuff. But I think one of the other elements is like, you know, you ask everybody, or if it's just yourself running it, you know, what do we want to do with this film? Like, is it an asset? Is it actually something that you can go here? That this is the films, the world of the film. This is something that, you know, it's like reading a book. You know, it's that kind of thing of, and then what kind of areas will it actually be relatable to? What are people going to put it in the box as? So, female directors, LDP, lockdown films, COVID-19. Dogfest films. We went really far, you know. There's a dog in the film, so
I like it.
You know, what kind of areas? So drama focused festivals, best child actor, social issues. Those are all kind of covered in that film, or at least, you know, spoken about generally.
So Sorry,
And then
I've got to go. I've got my interview for the job in 1 minute, so I need to shoot.
thank you, Becky. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.
Thanks, Becky.
Bye bye. That's so nice. She's really well versed. That's incredible.
She's really good. She's she's a very organized
yeah,
person.
yeah. I feel like
She,
she probably has one of these at home as well. Oh yeah, one of the things was like enter 15 festivals, and then if you get screened at 5, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So one third ratio. If you can kind of get to that, that's incredible. Don't like if you even get like 2 or 3 little bites out of it, then yeah. And then I did 1 hour at least every week, trying to push out more with the film and stuff. I did more, obviously. Jack, you probably knew I did more, but I set myself a goal of like, what I was going to invest in time-wise, and then when to write when your festival run is ending. So I knew I didn't want to do any more of the festival run stuff after May 2021, and I actually changed that to like, I basically did all of it, all of this and more. I think it was like, what was the last one I entered? I don't know. I can't remember which one it was, but there was like there was a Welsh film festival that I spoke about with Peter, and we entered that one, and that was the last one I did, because Copper Film Festival. So the last date I did on this one was the 4th of November. I haven't really looked at this since then because I needed to draw a line in the sand of like how much engagement I was doing with it, and I think it's worth like you writing down how much investment of your time you're going to put into it as well, because it can be an endless thing, like properly endless. There's a couple of other things like British Film Council sometimes help with travel expenses to go and see films back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in there. Back before COVID.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to do that kind of stuff again, but like, but also writing down, this basic like, what is your film about? Comedy, London, reconnecting, isolation, heartwarming, create an EPK, artist statement, 15-word statement. So
EPK, what's an EPK?
Electronic press pack kit, I think. Something in those lines. I'll send you all this stuff as well, but like maybe I can write this stuff down. But like 15-word synopsis. Keith said that you have to do a dialogue, or he used to have to do dialogue lists. I don't know I don't think he's ever been asked for one again, but I think that was only for one specific film festival. Maybe for their own subtitles or to understand exactly what's said in the film. Posters, like 5 to 20 stills he created, but I mean 5 is good. Even 2 or 3, I think is good for enough for a brochure or whatever. The script, BTS photos, biography of the director, and photo of the director. So most of it is focused around the director, really. If you've, it's not so much about other things. Personally, I found it's very director focused. There are some film festivals that are a little bit more open, but they, will want to have a meet, like maybe they'll do like Zoom calls with the director. It is that kind of framed thing. I think this is a document from, here you go, that's the document from Keith, the one that I adapted into my version. And yeah, he also entered like similar film festivals as well. But it's, as you can see, it starts getting a bit expensive because by the time you go to Glasgow Film Festival, that's like £10.90. I did do the gold thing. I think I still am a gold member, but I'm probably going to unsubscribe pretty quickly and pretty soon, just because I don't really need the membership anymore.
How much is the membership?
I think it is like £5 or £6 per month.
Okay, it might be worth it for like a month, right?
Yeah,
And then you do it all for 1 month.
Yeah, that's what I did before. Is just like lined it up so I knew, in my in my list, I knew that I had 18 film festivals to enter, or 23 or whatever we had it ended up with. So there was like lists that I 100% had to enter, and then there was just like watch lists which I was like, they're nice, but they're not 100% needed. And then this one I still need to sort out a bit to kind of distill down. But I kind of feel like I'm done with the offering Apexa for the moment, just to kind of see how it goes.
Yeah.
I might revisit it later down the line, but I think in total we've currently spent £121 on Rose Pandemic and about £25 on the offering Apexa. So yeah, it slowly adds up. Like luckily with Rose Pandemic, there was a lot of other people and contributors that we could, share the costs. Whereas if you're on your own, you kind of need to start pulling together a budget for things. But yeah, I mean, I organized it like this, so then if anybody asks me for things, I can just send them a download link. So if they wanted the final film, I can say, here's the final film, send them a link here so they can just download it from the Google Drive. So yeah, in combination with like an Excel spreadsheet, Google Drive to like maintain where people are pulling files to. I think they can also pull it from here, but they ask you to send your latest copy of your film as well, because you might have updated it and not updated it on here. But similarly, this one's pretty much the same in terms of website. I actually set up an Instagram for this one, which I haven't actually added anything onto yet, but I should add onto it, and website. Yeah, there's a IMDb here for it as well. Yeah, so looking pretty good. Credits, specifications. And more photos, behind the scenes photos and stuff. But I feel like it's really important to get the posters, fairly okay as well. It's quite nice. I think that's pretty much it for me, really. Planning, spreadsheets. I guess Jack, it's just like finding what box to put your actual film in, or a couple of keywords that you describe your film, and that will help. And then you can kind of make plans of what films to enter, what festivals to enter. I'm happy to send you that, like the access to that as well, just so you can jump into that and have a little look of like
really useful
list that I have. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing special really, but you can just, pull that list and take what you want out of it. Deadlines, but most of them are like, most of them are British. Some of them are based around the genre or around female directors. I really wanted to go to Reykjavik. So that's why I put that there. How much is it? Oh, it's gone pricey. It's too pricey for me, but maybe at some point in the future. So yeah, even flat pack, it's £12 something. Like, you got to really, you can really start between there. We've already seen like £45 go quite quickly.
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, so expensive. So you really got to question, like, why you want to do it, what it's going to bring you, how it's going to actually bring you kind of, is it the award, is it the recognition, or is it the kind of getting your work out there into that space, of being screened and stuff in front of an audience. I still need to look at that myself, really, as well. These are questions, open questions for sure. I think, yeah, setting a limit for yourself as well is a good takeaway. And then, yeah, what do you want from like post this process, I think, is useful.
Yeah, and it's very interesting stuff. It's like, yeah, what do you actually want from it?
Yeah, I kind of really want to ask Rebecca that as well, of like what she's found, of like, what she's taken away from it, like what she's learned, what things have helped her, because as you see, like no two festival is the same. Cost wise, what they're looking for, any of that kind of stuff. So you can't really use the same process to try and apply for that one versus the other. It's down to a personal level, but I think if you've got a good solid presentation of your work, then if they're interested, they'll be like, yes, we're interested. If they're not, they'll be like pretty straightforward and be like, no, sorry, it's not been selected this time, it wasn't right for our film festival, whichever. Or yeah, I think that's probably the best bet. I've gone for my Victorian haircut again, Jack.
Nice and slick back. You can make me the host if you want, so we're not going to run out of time.
Yeah, man. That's absolutely fine. Do you
Throws it out?
Jack, I'm going to go back onto recording. So that's kind of interesting. So what were you saying about the archived?
So I think the archive submissions just after a year, or because these are all 2019, 2018. It just kind of, which makes sense because you want to keep it a bit clearer, right?
And I guess one of the other things is, if you go back to my projects for a second, and then gone to Fox for a Penny. Okay, so you kept it really simple. As like, that's it. Did you do credits, specifications, all that stuff as well?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Oh, nice. So basically, one of my things was the awards you got. If you go back onto subs, or go back onto submissions for a second, because submissions are just like, okay, so you got one, you're awarded one, like winning at something, and selected for a couple as well.
Yeah, selected for 2, semi-finalist and 1, and award winner for 1.
So does that mean you were selected for 3, or does that mean you selected for?
Doesn't mean selected
2.
for 4, or does that include? Is it? How do I just do not?
Selected.
Because no, they're different. So selected for Slumberjack, award winner in model and movie, motion picture semi-finalists, selected in. So they're like, so there's 4 festivals.
So you had 4 festivals selected. From that, how did you weren't able to go to obviously some of the American ones, right? Or
no, we didn't go to any of them because they were, what one was in. So that's the problem with this. I don't know the way we did this. The way I did this strategy, it was just kind of like very random. Whereas now I'm very much going to be keeping it on like UK and Norway festivals, really. Because those are the ones that are actually going to be useful to me.
How much did you pay on, if you don't mind me asking, Slumberjack and those 2, all those 4 film festivals?
We can have a look. This one was $5.
Okay.
$10.
Okay.
5, 8. So yeah, I think we just had a maximum for like $10 and everything.
Okay. So one of the things I was going to say was, just kicked me off here. That's really weird. 1 second. That's better. So one of the things I was going to ask was, from that, how did it help you grow, or what happened after those small, like small festivals, right? The ones you won at, or how would you describe these festivals?
Small, for sure.
Did it push you forwards, or what did it give you?
I don't think it really. I don't know. It was definitely like it's all a learning experience, right? But again, because we didn't go to them, or because they were kind of outside of our influence sphere, there wasn't much benefit. It was just nice to have been able to be like, oh, someone saw our work and liked it. But then again, we were just like, I don't know, a bunch of teenagers without much direction.
So I think from that though is like, obviously, I don't go into a project going, oh, I'm going to make it this way to make it so it's going to win festivals or any of that kind of stuff, because what would be the point of it anyway? But the thing that I was trying to get at is that I guess you kind of found a pathway of like quite quickly of like ones which you just weren't selected to, because one, it was either to you started quantifying what your film was afterwards.
Yeah.
Of like, it's probably going to get accepted into these kind of festivals because that's the kind of level it is. Let's say we can't afford a crazy amount of money anyway, so you're already hitting into a certain festival range anyway. So I think between 2 or 3 different things, you can kind of already forecast roughly where your film might fit. I'm not saying it should be limited by money in any way, but and also like the top ones are like sponsored, sponsored by London Independent Film Festival. But I do believe that if the story is good, then it doesn't matter like the quality and all that stuff. People will accept it into film festivals and stuff. But yeah, I think there's definitely a couple. I would definitely. I'm happy to send you that 108 list of festivals that I would suggest that are like ones I've been to. I think I've been to probably about maybe 10 or 15 festivals. I personally gone to them or shown films at those festivals.
Yeah.
I did have a film back in 2010 that we did, which was called Weave Fish, and that one we went out and only sent it to one film festival. I don't know if it's still going or not, but it's called the Bootleg Film Festival, and it was films made under 10 grand, and that was super. Like it would travel around the Bootleg Film Festival like once a year, I think it was, but in different different countries would host it. But yeah, like Bootleg Edinburgh, Bootleg New York. I think it was under 10 grand. I'm not sure. There's probably a couple of other different variations of it now.
Yeah, I wonder if it's still out and about.
Because some of these things get closed down because they're just run by people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. There's definitely warrants of like it's another little badge, or is it actually a substantial next step in your career kind of thing? Or whether, like, I know people that have just paid like $400 and then their music video that was not great went off to get like almost 1 million hits on YouTube because they just got high up in the search engine for that day.
Really?
Yeah. So you can just pay Google to put you up there, which, I mean, it's a weird one. Like that kind of goes back to my original question. Is like, you know, what do you actually want to get out of your film, and like, what do you actually want to make? I think as long as it basically, I guess most people want to have access to their next project, which is probably higher or bigger or a different variation, or helps fund other different projects. I guess that's most people's goals. Or if it's a film that's like, it really needs to get out there, and you know, let's say it's about female empowerment and or promoting a unique story, then maybe those festivals can help change that pathway and develop it. But I still wonder where festivals fit right now. I guess it's almost like a Spotify playlist, you know, or like, this is the top films. These are great. Like, paid to watch them, which is cool. But obviously, the film festival for the filmmakers, it's quite like, you're paying to make the film. You then pay to
show the
film, and then somebody else collects the money. Not unless you win, and you still probably won't win anything. So it's like very difficult to want to go and just go put your film online and just get a load of friends to, you know, share it around, and that might be a better way of doing it. Like, you know, how much could I buy with £121? Pay £1 per person to share it. I probably have more spread of the film. It'd be an interesting, different reality if I did that instead. I'd be interested to see what happens in the future with this kind of area, and whether it's still going. I think it's still said that people do have a good eye, the film festival like creators, in terms of like choosing the right films for certain festivals. Although I think sometimes they get obsessed with like a certain story, and then they'll have whole categories which will be about a certain thing that's happening in the world. I think it's fine, but if you go to see 1 or 2 or 3 film festivals that year, I guess a lot of the public wouldn't do that anyway, but you start becoming numbed to that topic, because you start seeing like a screening of an hour and a half or 2 hours, and whereas like 8 of the films are pretty much the same stories, just rehashed or from a different viewpoint or whatever. So I don't know. But if